Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Family seeks answers following shooting death of 16-year-old in Central Village last week. Opposition and government at odds over sections of the new firearms bill. In sports, West Indies confident ahead of must-win ICC Women's 50-over World Cup game against South Africa in New Zealand later. I'm Anthony Lugg. Here are the details. We begin with our continued coverage of the three-day visit of the British royals. The Duke of Cambridge, Prince William, and his wife, the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate, are now at the Shortwood Teachers College in St. Andrew. Our reporter on the ground is Kelisha Williams.
Thank you. So I'm here at the Shortwood Teachers College in St. Andrew, and as you can see from the crowd behind me, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, they're here. They arrived a few moments ago, and they're actually inside that building behind me where they're meeting with some researchers, after which they'll move on to the faculty where they'll be interacting with students and teachers before moving on to Shortwood Practicing, where they will meet grade 3 students. Now today they have a very tight schedule. They'll be going to the Spanish Town Hospital. They will also be going to St. James, after which they will close the day at King's House with a dinner. So I'll be here on the ground at Shortwood Teachers College, and I'll provide more updates in subsequent newscasts. It's back to you guys in studio.
Thank you. Now, questions are being raised among the family members of a man that was shot and killed by the police in Central Village, St. Catherine last week. As we hear in this report from Cody and Barrett, the family is accusing the officers of cold-blooded murder.
A confrontation between gunmen and police resulting in 4 men being shot and killed is raising more questions than answers for one family in Burger Gully of Mountain View Avenue in St. Andrew. The mother and grandmother of one of the deceased, 21-year-old Romario Brewster, said when they got the call last week Wednesday, something was not adding up.
So 4 men get shot in Central Village with so many police and not one police get hurt. Why?
I drop down, man. I'm a big son, you know. I drop down right now. I still can't believe. Still I'm mourn, but tears not go down in no ways, you know.
They believe that there was no shootout the night the men were killed.
Because one of the guys neck cut. He said a slash around him neck. Yeah? Nobody now go and lie down and sleep. Because you look for your enemy and come. Do? Because you go for work. Do?
The police or the soldier who do it, feels that them do something and do it nice. No, them days shortly. Because them murder them cold-blooded. You can see that them asleep. Yeah, call my son have a fright like him frightened. One of the eye them open. Like, you know when you're frightened? Yeah. I'm a little cousin, baby D, you can see that when him get the shot, I turn him mid.
The mother admits that her son might have been mixed with the wrong company, but he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. However, they believe the situation could have been dealt with differently.
Even if them ears are wanted man in the community, carry them in, man, cause them no better. Yeah, them a walk with things to put on people young. But I'm gonna say people, the young youth, them perfect, but then I the older man, him don't shoot off for you, him not kill nobody for you. Shoot out like that with 4 youth. And them around the house, something you'd have to go on. Even one of them, you'd have to get shot. Something. I kill them cold-blooded.
Asleep, the youth them asleep. Them going for the youth, them could have carried them in. Them never had to kill them. Eh? You hear some man there, you find them. You know, carry them in. I saw them will want to kill, why them kill the youth them.
His mother also addressed allegations that her son was out on bail for murder.
Him go to Vineyard Town Station, go report every Monday. Every Monday, and him go to court down by gun court. So how him for be wanted for murder and bail for murder, nothing like that.
Nothing like that. All right, so when you heard the situation over by Central Village, you know, what was your first thought about it?
His grandmother said she went to the police station to seek clarification on the incident. However,
no, me guys, Central Village, and them a question me, and him ask me what me have to ask him. And me ask him why them do the pit them, so and him tell me if I come out of my office. The policeman come out of my office, a government place, and a film bedroom. Him out of my tax in that.
When our news team contacted the head of the St. Catherine South Division, Senior Superintendent Christopher Phillips, he said he was unable to comment at the moment as investigations by Indicom are still ongoing. Cody Barrett, TVJ News.
The debate on the new firearms bill resumed in Gordon House yesterday, and the sitting was another fiery one as opposition and government members continued to trade verbal barbs on the matter. Dwayne Anderson has the details.
Where the firearms are illicitly trafficked.
My own opinion. I would like to see the data.
Minister, but
I think I'm entitled to form my own opinion and not rely on your interpretation.
Marlene Malahoo Fort and Peter Bunting clashed yet again as the debate around the new firearms bill raged on. Mr. Bunting is concerned that most of the proposals contained in the bill are high-handed and do not offer enough protection to lawful firearm carriers. But Mrs. Malahoo Fort disagreed.
There is no intention on the part of the executive to hide any data. This is an issue that affects all of Jamaica, regardless of which party forms government.
Look, stop
you
the
were in the post at one time.
If the data is there, just present it.
Committee Chairman Dr. Horace Chang reiterated what he believes is the most important data in this debate.
I don't need any more data, Senator, in that a matter of treating you with any disrespect for the House. Everybody in the House is aware of 3,000 plus shooting taking place in Jamaica from time to time, and at least 1,200 ending up in death. That is the data, and I don't think we need to look at any more data to decide how we treat a firearm.
But Senator Bunting reasoned licensed firearm holders could lose their permits if the FLA feels their quote no longer fit and proper. He further argued that the explanation is too vague and wants the legislation to be clear about breaches to help protect licensed carriers from any abuse of power. But the FLA CEO Shane Darling noted that persons are always given an explanation when they are being investigated.
That is why even when it goes to the review board and the court, they have maintained and hold in favor of the FLA, because what the court has said, Minister, is while the FLA is not entitled to give the clear reason as how it's set out, the gist of it must be provided. And we have always been able to satisfy the court by providing the person's statement to show that they were questioned on the gist of what the information was.
The JSC members in the meantime queried whether the FLA had become entirely profit-driven. The view was raised as members examined the agency's policy, which requires licensed holders to take in their weapons for inspection yearly.
If it's a fee thing, we understand. Right? And as Minister said, if you breach the 1-year payment, you give them the option to pay the 5-year fee one time. Give the option to pay the 5-year fee.
Someone looking on the law would really want to probe a little deeper as to whether the annual inspection is more than what it appears to be, and it's more for revenue purposes. I say it could be, that question could be asked.
Last week, the Minister of National Security indicated that the FLA is a major revenue earner for the government. The agency's annual contribution to the consolidated fund ranged between $300 to $700 million. Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
And it's time now for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to Midday News, and thanks for staying with us. Residents of Waterford in Portmore St. Catherine are this afternoon taking issue with the Jamaica Public Service Company. They say it's a challenge whenever they try to contact the company to report issues. Cody Barrett reports.
After 2 days of calling the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, to report an outage and several reference numbers later, residents of Waterford say they finally got their electricity restored Sunday evening. But when our news team arrived Sunday morning, residents were livid. It's understood that a transformer was damaged in the community around 10 p.m. on Friday.
My mommy was in the house and she heard a little burning sound. And after that, the light just went. So a neighbor, when she consulted a neighbor, he told her that he saw the wire hanging from the pole. And when we checked, all our neighbors around here were without light.
So I've been calling in from that time, the emergency number, and a couple of times it cut off. I get somebody to speak to, but eventually the line cut.
And with no electricity, some businesses have lost valuable stock.
My milk them spoil, my soda them, I don't know if I tell you, people say, listen, I not buy that. Kawa. I not buy it too hot. That them I tell me soda too hot, milk spoil.
Residents say it is unfair that the light company has been complacent.
Trust and believe that when you pay your bill, you cannot owe JPS not even $500. You understand? And they come and disconnect if you owe them that much. We have food spoiling in here. We are without light, without fan. That's an internet. He has class tomorrow. Clothes need to iron and all these things. And JPS has not even come and look, so much as look at what happened.
By Sunday afternoon, we observed a team from JPS arriving on location. However, the counselor for the division, Courtney Edwards, complained about the response time.
When you call the Jamaica Public Service, there's a straight line there, right? It does not work. When you report the matter to anybody within the hierarchy, right? If it is made known once and you make a second call, nobody answers anymore.
He also pointed out more discrepancies with reporting using the toll-free number.
The toll-free number you've dialed is not free of charge from your current location. If you choose to continue the call, you'll be charged at international direct call rates. If you don't wish to pay, please hang up now.
How much of us can afford that? It's a slap in the face to the people of Jamaica. And I think that JPS must do better. The personnel who are employed to Jamaica Public Service must see themselves as service providers.
By 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon, the community had their electricity restored. Cody Ann Barrett, TVJ News.
And the Jamaica Public Service Company has sought to clarify that out of the entire Waterford community, the outage affected 33 persons on one transformer circuit. In explaining the reason for the delay in restoring electricity to the community, the company said it was initially incorrectly logged, but the error was picked up on Sunday. It said power returned to the affected residents by Sunday evening. The company says it's apologizing for this human error. As for the concerns about the toll line, JPS noted that one of its lines is free to those calling from Flow landlines and the other comes at a reduced cost to Digicel phone users. The light and power company is, however, reminding customers that reports can be made in the MyJPS mobile app for a quick and easy alternative to making calls. We go now to St. Thomas, where police are investigating the shooting death of a farmer in the parish last night. A teen was also injured in the incident. It's reported that about 8:20 last night, loud explosions were heard in the community. The body of 51-year-old Rupert Francis was found in front of a shop with a bullet wound to the head. Mr. Francis died at hospital. An 18-year-old student was also shot in the groin. He's still in hospital. And for the latest in the world of business, here's Cody and Barrett with a Business Minute.
In the world of business, recently released figures for 2021 shows Montego Bay's Sangster International Airport's income increasing to $76.5 million. MBJ Airports and PAC Kingston Airport Limited generated about $110 million in combined revenue over the 12 months to December 2021. This reflects major recovery after 2020's economic fallout in the wake of the pandemic. News overseas, the U.S. has agreed to ease Trump-era tariffs on UK steel and aluminum shipments, resolving an issue that had strained relations between the allies. The move follows earlier deals with the European Union and Japan over the controversial taxes which were imposed by former President Donald Trump in 2018 in the name of national security. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And we go now to a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In this evening's health report, we look at memory loss during pregnancy.
All pregnant women are affected, whether it is the younger age or the older age group. All women are affected equally, and the only thing is that it appears to be more so in the third trimester as the pregnancy progresses. And it is likely due to the sleep deprivation, whether because of an uncomfortable position when you sleep, or of course the woman has to get up more often to go and urinate because of the pressure on the bladder at that stage.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. Positive thinking reduces stress. Change your diet, get enough rest, and exercise regularly.
And it's time now for the top regional and international stories. Here's
In the region, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, says he sees no reasons why the Twin Island cannot be fully reopened, as the country has been recording low numbers of COVID-19 cases. The virus has killed 3,719 people and infected 136,000 others over the past 2 years. Trinidad and Tobago, like several other Caribbean countries, closed its borders as part of efforts to stem the spread of the virus. However, in recent weeks, several regional countries have been slowly reducing their various measures and allowing for a certain level of normalcy. On the international scene, South Korea reported 490,881 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday, bringing the country's total caseload to more than 10 million since the pandemic began. The grim case number equates to roughly 1 out of every 5 South Koreans. In recent weeks, South Korea reported some of the highest daily averages in the world for cases, with a 7-day daily average of around 340,000 as of Wednesday, according to data from the country's health agency. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we head now to a quick break. When we return, we'll have your Midday Sports Report. Renardo Brown is standing by.
Welcome back. It's now time for your Midday Sports. Interim Reggae Boys head coach Paul Hall says the squad selected for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers represents the future of Jamaican football. The boys are out of contention for a place at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, and Hall has used the opportunity to call up several young players to the squad for Thursday's home game against El Salvador.
What we want to do is we want to make sure that the players are in the right place. We've got other things to think about now. We've got succession planning, we've got to rebuild, and we've got to make sure that we come out and we give the fans and the Jamaicans a performance that we owe them. So it's important that we go out and we give a great performance on Thursday, Wednesday, and make sure that we're there and thereabouts come the end of the game.
Now Thursday's game is set to start at 6 p.m. Jamaica time. And in cricket, it's D-Day for the West Indies women as they face South Africa in a must-win game at the ICC 50 over World Cup in New Zealand. Not many gave the Windies women a chance of making the last 4 at the start of the tournament, but with wins over host New Zealand and defending champions England in their first 2 games, the Caribbean side were well on course for a semi-final spot. However, after a series of inconsistent performances, which culminated in a defeat to bottom-place Pakistan, the Windies must now beat South Africa and hope that they can in turn beat India in their final game. Vice-captain Anissa Mohammed, in her pre-match comments, singled out the batters in the team.
Yeah, it's really difficult, especially as a bowler, knowing that you have to go out and defend small totals. But hopefully tomorrow we'd have all the batters showing up to the party and putting some runs on the board. We know that some players have performed, some haven't, so we know runs is due from some of the other players, and we're hoping that tomorrow would be the day.
Now today's game goes off at 5 Jamaica time. Still on cricket, host Pakistan suffered a massive batting collapse to hand Australia a massive advantage heading into day 4 of their 3rd and final test in Lahore. Resuming the day at 90 for 1 in response to Australia's 391 all-out, the pair of Abdullah Shafiq and Azhar Ali added another 80 runs on the 3rd morning. Shafiq was the first to go for 81 before Ali, who made 78, added another 44 runs with captain Babar Azam, who made 67. The two had Pakistan cruising at 214 for 2 before Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc ripped through the batting lineup with the second new ball. The two combined to take Pakistan's last 8 wickets for just 54 runs in a period of 30 overs to dismiss them for 268. Cummins ended with 5 for 56, while Starc had 4 for 33. With a 123-run first innings lead, Australia reached stumps at 11 without loss. The series is currently tied at 0-0 after the first 2 tests ended in drawn results. And finally, world number 1 Ashley Barty has shocked the sporting world by announcing she will retire from professional tennis at just 25. The Australian made the announcement on social media on Wednesday, saying she was leaving to chase other dreams. She said physically she had nothing more to give. Barty won 3 Grand Slam singles titles, including this year's Australian Open in January. In doing so, she became the first home player to win the Australian Open men's or women's singles title in 44 years. Barty has remained world number 1 since winning her first Grand Slam at the French Open in 2019, a run of 114 consecutive weeks. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. Anthony, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Renardo. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.